Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be diving into the world of Vechain to see exactly what is going on with the price action of VET. We can see some more volatility occurring here in the next few days, so I really want to kind of give you guys a bit of a heads up as to what I'm expecting to happen next, so everyone can be nice and prepared. If you find this video useful and informative, hit that like button, I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with this said, done, and out of the way, let's dive right down into this daily chart. We're going to keep this one nice and brief, just taking a look at the daily and the hourly today. So we can see exactly what's going on and really focus down on my expectations. So here we have obviously our daily chart with the high of wave 3, the low of wave 4. And basically what we can see here is a good push up to $1, right? That's the aim. $1.01 is where the fib kind of comes out. Now this actually shows us as 1,050% gains from the current position. The current position though, however, I do anticipate falling down a little bit lower. Okay, and we have the potential to fall right back down into this buy zone that we were in previously. Okay, so if we do fall back into this area, this is going to be a fantastic opportunity to basically buy up some of the fear that's up for sale. Now we can take a look at the stochastic. We've got into an interesting point, but we have had a pullback. Bitcoin has been very volatile, and until we start to see that uncoupling of Bitcoin, which will happen towards the end of the bull run, we are going to obviously be following the price action of Bitcoin. With this being said, though, this is where we can analyze the charts for Vechain here and find those opportunities where we can potentially buy up a little bit more ahead of going parabolic towards the end of the bull run. So right now, obviously, you can see the volatility. We had a nice surge to the upside here, with Bitcoin pulling us down, and then obviously trying to get that bounce, Bitcoin pulling us down again, and again, more kind of regurgitation of old news. Basically, the institutions are getting a bit lazy. Mainstream media picking up old articles and regurgitating them, sending them back out again, trying to shake out retail investors out of the space. I like to think that a lot of retail investors are wising up to what's going on in the space. Bitcoin hasn't been as fluctuating as much as maybe you might expect under the same kind of news that have worked before. Not working as well this time around. So do brace ourselves. Something bigger might happen there to try to kind of shake everyone back out of the market, like you saw back in May. So I'm quite mindful of that. I am monitoring lots of different kind of possibilities. And I haven't come across any that I am really confident in just yet, but if I do come across one, I will obviously let everyone know what I can see happen. But for now, I am still expecting volatility on the smaller time frames, specifically for Vechain here, and I'm going to go through what my expectations are next, right? So the aim is obviously to come up to our 786 area at 23.1 cent. We were moving nicely there until the regurgitation of old news and basically FUD brought the price of Bitcoin down, bringing the price of the altcoin market down, right? So volatility is still expected here. We do, of course, have that cup and handle pattern where we do target this area just up here anyway, but it is reliant on this actual pattern here just kind of sticking to it, right? We can't have the handle dropping too low. So ultimately, if we want to see the actual cup and handle pattern form properly, then we should be looking to find a bottom to this recent correction soon in order to allow us to move up to that area in a nice comfortable way. Otherwise, we could potentially invalidate all of this cup and handle, and then different patterns will also emerge from there. But overall, the bull run is still very much intact. We are expecting some massive runs towards the end of the year, beginning of next year, and that hasn't changed. The structure of the weekly and the daily are very much intact, but we do have this volatility. This volatility is pretty much just down to Bitcoin and basically people trying to shake out, or whales trying to shake out retail investors out of the space. So overall, we are in an interesting point of our stochastic. Plenty of room to pull back down, but also plenty of room to push up. I think we are looking for volatility to push this down a little bit lower. Maybe we'll just enter this oversold area before moving back to the upside again. Okay, so we are waiting to see this kind of play out a little bit. We've got a few more days left of September, early October, and then I think from there we should be into some interesting kind of moves to the upside. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to jump over to the advice dashboard. We're going to take a look at the underlying data for Vechain to see exactly what is going on and should we be concerned. Overall, we are a C1 rated cryptocurrency. This actually should be a concern to many of us. Okay, so we have the fear and greed index falling down or forming a D rating. So extreme fear is out there for Vechain today. Okay, so we obviously have to be mindful that there is a lot of people very scared, wanting to basically liquidate their Vechain holdings. We can see the 𝗕𝗓𝗪 ratio is also a rating of D. This is indicating to us there are liquidity-based problems for Vechain. So buying and selling Vechain is going to be problematic. We can pull back down a little bit lower here. We can see the Sharpe ratio is a C2. We've dropped below the 50-day average. The risk to reward ratio for holding Vechain is no longer in our favor, and therefore we should be concerned about this as well for the smaller time frames. So if you're a trader, this is going to be the fantastic piece of data to say, okay, now I want to potentially be considering my positions. Now, the moving averages have also been affected by the recent volatility. This is also a rating of D, and the profitability, of course, with 18,000% in gains in 1 year, we can, of course, assume that the profitability is still an A1, which it is, right? So profitability isn't a problem over the long period of time, but obviously we have started to see that profitability kind of pull back in line with the recent pullback that we've seen. Overall, we have a C1 rating. Now, the concerns here are as follows. We have a lot of fear in the space, as in there's a lot of people trying to sell their Vechain. We have the 𝗕𝗓𝗪 ratio showing a rating of D, which means there are liquidity-based problems for Vechain. We can see the Sharpe ratio, the risk to holding Vechain has actually increased, and the moving averages are affected. Okay, so these 4 metrics are concerning to us, and therefore we should be considering some opportunities in the space right now. Right now, as a trader, you'll be buying and selling during this kind of volatility. If you're a hodler, you're going to be looking to find some fantastic opportunities to dollar cost average better positions ahead of where we are going next, right? So I'm going to go through what's going on in these smaller time frames for you, right? So we're going to pull down into our hourly view. For Vechain here, we're going to just expand this up a little bit, and here we can see that we are on this downward trend, right? This downward trend has been going for a while. We obviously were moving up. We found that we were getting wedged into this area, got broken down from this area, right? So the expectations basically around here was that we were going to be pushing up, right? Pushing up significantly up to this area here. However, that fear in that space, the risk reward ratio, the underlying data problems with liquidity have prevented us from doing so. We've pushed the stochastic to the upside here, but basically not actually moving the needle at all. Now, on the other hand, we can push this price down, and we have this area of support at 8.3 cent, which may or may not even hold. We may pull back much lower than this and find a new area of support a little bit lower. So when we actually throw the volumes on here, you can see that the volumes haven't exactly been the best. We're pushing the price up, the volumes drop down, and right now the volumes are also incredibly low. So what's going to happen next, in my opinion, is we're going to start seeing some growth in volume as we pull the price and stochastic down. This will allow us to drop down lower, and I do anticipate that we're going to lose that 8.3 cent support area that we've enjoyed previously. Okay, and from here, that's your opportunity, right? You have the opportunity to buy up when we're into this lower area. Now, how low it's going to go is going to be the problem, because if I actually take this and zoom on out a little bit, we can see that we are potentially entering into the buy zone area. Now, the buy zone area is this area just down here. I don't think we're going to do that in one day. I think there's going to be a gradual approach. We'll lose this. We'll probably find it as a resistance, and then we'll come into this area here briefly before moving on out. Okay, so this is the buy zone area. This comes in at 6.8 cent. This is an area that we've been in briefly before moving on up to the upside that we had previously, right? So when we're talking about finding an area of support, we could find this area of support at 7.9. We could obviously pull back down a little bit lower and find our support area of 7.3 on this journey to the downside. I don't think we're going to enter this area anytime soon, but there is the opportunity to enter this area at some point. And if we do, we don't spend a lot of time in here as per the history. Instead, we actually move on right out of this area in a really strong way. So right now, looking to break that 8.3 cent area, looking to find that 7.9 is the support line, testing the 8.3, losing that, that test, and then pulling back down lower, going to 7.3, testing a little bit higher and pulling down below 6.9. Okay, that's the expectation over the next few days for Vechain, considering everything that's going on in the space. Now, obviously, if I was a trader, I would be looking to sell, and I'd be looking to buy on this journey, basically buying these bounces on that journey to the downside. Now, obviously, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research and all of that. There's many different strategies that can be employed during this kind of scenario. One of them, of course, would be the buy and the sell. So sell high, buy low. sell high, right? Or basically take a dollar cost average position. Don't sell anything. Just continue to buy these dips, right? And when we pull back, we buy down here. We wait for it to push up. When it falls down, we buy down here. Push up. When it pulls back down, you buy down here, right? And then you're buying those dips on this downward trend. That allows you to have a very good position for when you go up to the next level and taking it into some fantastic heights, which we do anticipate still happening here. And this is just volatility on the smaller time frame. And, ultimately it's just about being prepared for what is coming, right? And making sure that we have everything ready. Our strategies are all set out and good to go. But ultimately, Vechain does target $1.01. The bull run is still very much intact. If it had finished back when Bitcoin was at 65k, it would have been the shortest bull run in history at only 240 days. Whereas actually then on the most part it averages between 500 and 700 days. So right now we are still on track for that bull run. It definitely hasn't peaked out yet. So with Bitcoin should still be targeting some interesting levels. And once Bitcoin's volatility is finished, once those institutions and whales have stopped manipulating the markets, trying to shake out retail investors, and we should start to see Bitcoin rise up. And obviously, as Bitcoin starts to push back up to those highs, Vechain will also go along with it. And then once Bitcoin does get its blow off the top, we'll start to see basically many of these altcoins run on their own and go to their all-time highs as well. So overall, do expect volatility on the smaller time frames, and everything else is pretty much still on track right now. We just need to kind of get through the next few weeks of volatility. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you have found this video useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.